So a couple of people have asked me my thoughts on the upcoming Nintendo Switch and how it compares to the Wii U and what I expect from it and all sorts of things. One thing I can absolutely say for certain is that it's going to sell very well. And I know people say you can't predict these kind of things. It's like with any product launch, can't really determine its success beforehand. Well, I say bullshit. The reason I say that is because um, you can easily compare the launch from about 5-ish years ago, more like 4.5 years, from the Wii U to now, and comfortably see the difference. One of the biggest issues that Nintendo had with the Wii U was making a clear and concise message in its marketing. The biggest thing was not just the name, which implied, for 80% of people, 90% of people who aren't, intensively following gaming blogs or websites day after day after day after day, all the constant different information that there is out there, they would see something like that and be like, "Oh, it's the new Wii. Is it like what is that?" And the way Nintendo focused, they compounded the issue by focusing so much on the controller at the initial reveal event at E3 and continuing to showcase just the controller, that the name and the focus on the controller inevitably led people to assume that it was just going to be an add-on for the Wii, or that it's just a new Wii, or it's got a fancy controller, that kind of thing. And if you have any kind of confusion like that, you're bound to have some failure. Launch was okay, but after that it just dropped off a rock. That's because the hardcore enthusiasts, the people who are really into that kind of stuff, i.e. me, had already bought it, and it was all said and done. Now, for the Switch, we already know it's a new product. Anybody who's seen it knows it's not a Wii. The name helps get rid of that. The other thing is, too, that the concept of the system was very clearly revealed in the trailer back in October. Very fun, very highly viewed, very well liked concept reveal trailer was well done. And then the presentation event itself wasn't too exciting. It wasn't the best thing in the world, but it got the job done, showcased some titles that are coming. And then, of course, with the concept of being able to take all your games with you on the go. But here's why I think it's going to be a killer app. There's two reasons, actually. Two parts of the system that are really going to make people want it. And that is the convenience of cartridges and what that brings to the table, and the connectivity and the encouragement that's self-inherent in it to get people to play together, and the exposure in public. So as far as cartridges go, that's an amazing thing to bring back, because we went away from them for a while because the capacity of games was increasing. We went from having games that were 32 megabytes in the days of the N64, and that was, I think, still a large game then, to games that are now over 50, 60 gigabytes. I think it's over 100 gigabytes now with Gears of War 4 and all its updates, which is insane. That's massive. I remember having a computer that had a 40 gig hard drive, and that was big at that time. Now I have a 4 terabyte hard drive. It's ridiculous. So to kind of deal with that, we had to use disks for a while and then install them onto hard drives. That's kind of been the big thing with the Xbox One, the PS4, so on. The Wii U didn't have to, mainly because Nintendo focused on loading from the disc. And believe it or not, it was still more convenient to play a game on a Wii U versus another system. If, let's say it was Splinter Cell Blacklist, for example. Wii U had a very good version of that game. I would prefer to play it on the Wii U versus the PS4, Xbox One, just because, the load times are about the same, and you didn't have to install it, so you didn't have to wait before you played it. But in most cases, you didn't get a lot of third-party games that were the same, so you can't really say that's an advantage if it never happened. So the big thing with carts coming back is you can now have these games, they're full size, stored on the cartridge. And because of how fast cartridges are read from little cartridge reader, kind of like an SD card, but a lot faster, you don't have to install them. And that immediately takes away one of the big annoying things about this entire console generation with the PS4, Xbox One era, and even a lot of PC games. You don't have to install. There's no waiting. You buy the game, you pop Zelda in. A massive game. Massive game. Don't have to wait. Pop it right in, play. There's a load time comparison in-game as well for the Wii U version, which obviously uses the disc, and then the cartridge version of the Nintendo Switch. I believe the load time for the Switch was either 12 or 19 seconds, and the load time for the Wii U was over a minute. I mean, that's a huge difference just in-game. So imagine that with every game you play, no installs, very little wait times for loading, all that. That also alleviates the need to have a huge storage drive. Unless you're going all digital, in which case you can buy an SD card, which I like the idea of, because it's an open source thing, it's very cheap. It's not like a PlayStation Vita where you buy a specific proprietary memory card. You can just buy one of those little SD cards, pop it in the system, go digital if you want. That's fine. But inherently, you don't need a big hard drive. And the flash memory that's included is faster than a hard drive anyway. So it's a very fast, very efficient system, very low power, no moving parts, which is great, except for the fan to cool down the system, but you need that. And then the other thing is the inherent social networking of it. Now, the cool thing about this being a mobile system as well as a home system, that you can dock at home, take it out of the dock, and then take it as you wish, is the fact that you can have up to 8 people, basically. So if you get Mario Kart, and you know a bunch of people who have Switches, let's say you know 7 random people, you don't even have to be close friends with them. Just say, you guys want to get up together and play Mario Kart sometime? You can pick a place, you can sit down, and you can actually connect in a circle with all your buddies and just have a good time playing Mario Kart. You can still play online as usual at home. You can still, just do it with a couple of friends. But the fact that you can get large groups of people together to play the same game, a home console type game, is pretty incredible. And I think you're going to see it a lot more in the wild. I mean, obviously you don't see people taking their Wii U's all the time with them wherever they go. I used to take mine occasionally on car trips where I had a little power transformer. But a lot of the games, because it was a 2-screen experience, you couldn't just play on the little handheld gamepad, which is completely fixed with this Switch concept. So you can not only take it everywhere you go, you can connect with everyone anywhere you go. It's really seamless. And I think, as we've seen throughout the history of technology, convenience is what wins in all the different markets. Betamax lost to VHS because VHS was it was more convenient for people. You could record longer videos, more periods of time. It was inherently a lower quality, but it was more convenient. Same thing with compact discs. In a lot of ways, compact discs were better at the time than records, but they're technically lower quality than the acoustics. I mean, now if you play the newer vinyl records, they sound amazing, incredible. And lossless FLAC audio files or waves, whatever format you want to use. Inherently much better than CD. But it was so convenient at the time, before the advent of MP3s and whatnot, to be able to just get these little discs, slot them in, and you could have full, we're talking more than double the length of records. Convenience. And that's why I think the Switch is going to do very well. I predicted online that the Switch was going to sell at least 70 million units. That's about 3/4 almost of what the Wii sold. So it's not too lofty, but it's pretty up there. And then 800 million software units. That's a little bit over 10 to 1. So for every Switch sold, people are going to have a little bit over 10 games. I think that's reasonable, considering the convenience factor of having those carts and the fact that game cases, you can just slot your games in and take them with you as you go. Those are my thoughts on why the Switch is going to be successful, why it's not going to be another Wii U. It's all about convenience. It really is. I think the games are going to come, especially, you have third parties being a little bit tentative because they want to see the sales of the system. They want to see the sales of their minimal effort titles that they put out. I think, honestly, the release strategy, people have been saying that they're rushing the Switch to launch. I think it's the complete opposite. I think they absolutely planned it. If anything, they wanted it out by Christmas last year, and they pushed it to they pushed it back to March of this year because they knew that they could keep a steady software stream, which is what they're doing. They're having a first-party title, at least one every quarter. I mean, they're going to have Mario Kart the month after launch. They're going to have ARMS and Splatoon in the next couple months after that. They're going to have the new Mario game for the holiday, which is the first time the 3D Mario has been available in the first year of launch. We usually see it in the November following the launch. And then we have FIFA actually launch. This is actually important. FIFA is launching at the same time as the other versions, same day, this fall, which is also different compared to the Wii U. That version launched at the Wii U's launch in November, months after people already had it. I mean, I played the demo, but I already had the better version. I mean, it looked better than the Xbox and 360 at the time, but it wasn't necessarily the better version. You know what I mean? The other games had more features. So it's going to be great to see if we get some kind of feature parity there. I think it's a winner. But let me know your thoughts. Those are my thoughts on the whole situation, and I can't wait to get my Switch midnight March 3rd.